Ever wondered what really happens when someone drowns?
We're diving into the science of drowning today, and trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye.
Absolutely.
We've got some really interesting source material for this one.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to unpack all this
Yeah.
because I think we all have this picture in our heads, someone dramatically pulled from the water, gasping for air.
Right.
But what happens next
Right.
is rarely shown.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, that's what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
The surprising science of drowning
Okay.
and why even a seemingly close call demands serious attention.
Absolutely. You might think someone's safe after being pulled from the water, but that's not always the case.
Right.
And that's why understanding the true definition of drowning is so important.
Okay.
It's about more than just being submerged. It's about what happens to your body when breathing becomes impossible.
Okay, so let's unpack that. What does that mean, practically speaking?
Well, it's about respiratory impairment because of being in the water. This means even if someone surfaces, even if they're pulled ashore, the danger isn't necessarily over.
Wow.
It's a spectrum.
So what's an example of a mild case versus a severe one that might not be obvious?
Imagine a child who accidentally goes under for a moment,
Right.
coughs a bit, but then seems fine. That's still considered a drowning event, even though it was brief. On the other end, someone might seem fine after a rescue,
Right.
only to develop breathing problems or act strangely hours later.
Wow, I never considered that. So even if someone seems okay initially, there could be hidden dangers. That definition really highlights why the source puts so much emphasis on immediate first aid.
Exactly. Restoring oxygen to the brain is paramount. Every second counts. Interestingly, they found that brain damage can occur in as little as 4 to 6 minutes without oxygen.
That's less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee.
Precisely. And that's why the source was so clear on what to do first, rescue breathing, even
Right.
before CPR in some situations.
Okay, so walk us through those first aid essentials. What do we need to remember under pressure?
First, always ensure your own safety.
Right.
Never jump into a dangerous situation yourself. Then, if possible, get the person out of the water.
Go.
From there, check for breathing.
Right.
If they're not breathing, start rescue breaths, and if needed, CPR.
Okay.
But no matter what, call for emergency help.
That makes sense. Even with successful on-site rescue, you mentioned complications can arise later. The source called it a hidden danger. What exactly is going on there?
Think of it like an iceberg.
Okay.
The initial drowning event is what's visible,
Right.
but what lies beneath the surface are potential complications. Water in the lungs is one thing, but there's also aspiration,
Right.
which is when water gets into the lungs and mixes with saliva, potentially causing a dangerous infection. And then there's the body's response to oxygen deprivation.
The source mentioned secondary drowning. That sounds ominous.
It's an outdated term, but highlights that point. Delayed complications are a real risk. These can manifest later as serious, even life-threatening issues, even 8 hours later. Early medical intervention can mitigate these risks, which is why even if someone seems fine, getting them checked out by a doctor is crucial.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the complexities of drowning. It's so much more than what we see on the surface.
It truly is. And the fact that there are cases of survival after surprisingly long immersions, especially in cold water, just goes to show the remarkable resilience of the human body.
That's a powerful thought to end on. If you take away anything from this deep dive, let it be this. Knowing the signs, acting fast, and seeking medical help are crucial. It could save a life.